What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today is August the 22nd. I want to give you a quick pre-market update over some of the hot movers and what big money is doing today. Before we get into any of that, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, initial jobless claims just came out. Flat. So 232 versus the forecast of 232. So very convenient for that. Market isn't really reacting to, I think, that the best, because based on the futures, it is starting to go down slightly as a byproduct of that. But once again, once the market does open, it might have a inverse reaction as what does typically happen, but maybe the market was wanting significantly lower data than what the forecast of 232. So we'll just have to wait and see. One positive thing though, you do see the fear and greed index under the neutral category. So it is 52. So people's appetite for risk is increasing. So that's very resemblant based on a lot of the stocks I'm going to be talking on, because a lot of them are kind of low to mid cap stocks. So something to just keep in mind. Aside from that though, let's get right to it. SOFI is up slightly, 0.41%, reacting to the broader market. No actual news, no SEC filings, nothing like that. So it's just been kind of piggybacking off of the broader market for the last little bit. Shorts haven't really done all that much, and oddly with today's data, I feel like that might prompt them to return some shares, in my opinion. Of course, tomorrow is a big day as well for Powell, so maybe they're kind of holding on to that, because as you can kind of see, shorts haven't really done any major changes or moves over this last little bit. They've been somewhat flat, that center line right there. So I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Logically, given what SOFI does kind of yield for their earnings, doesn't make sense to have a short interest of 17.26%, but what do I know, right? One point to really watch for today, like I've kind of pointed out, with it closing at 7:30 and with it at 7:33 pre-market, just watch for this 723 support to hold, 746 kind of resistance slash target to kind of be the next breaking point for that, or breakout point, I guess, if that makes sense. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what does happen, but most likely there's going to be a lot of volatility in the foreseeable future. Just kind of anticipate that. Moving on, ticker is GDC. So it is up 80.1% because of this news right here. And honestly, it doesn't really seem like that much to me, just more launching a marketing campaign. So it's kind of interesting, but then again, if we kind of go over here, market cap is 38.24 million. So essentially, this kind of shows that the company is alive, if that makes sense. So people really like that, clearly, and this is what they do. On a side note, so advertising, 8 employees, based out of New York, so you guys can always pause that and read through it. It's not that heavily shorted either, so 5.55% of the free float is being shorted. So this is why, like I said, people's appetite for risk is increasing, because for this to be up this amount based on that news, yeah, again, it kind of shows that they are alive, but for the most part, it's kind of fluff news, if that makes sense. So kind of tread cautiously with this one, but then again, with momentum plays, it can go up very, very fast. Right now with it at 697, it is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So it's gone up so much over this last little bit. I'm actually looking at that 1 week chart. So essentially just, it's going to be more so the hold numbers, just psychological levels. That's where the support and resistance points are going to be. Moving on, Peloton is alive, barely, but alive still. So they did unveil their earnings, so it is up 13.1% pre-market. It is somewhat heavily shorted. Shorts have been returning a little bit, but still 18.81% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 63.89 million shares overall are being shorted. Like I said, shorts kind of brought it down from around 24 to where it is now at that 18, but utilization 22.76, short score is 59.28. So the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening, and it does show in excess of 10 million shares available to be shorted. So I do feel shorts might be returning some shares today. So essentially with it right now at 387, it is trading between this pivot and this R1. So just watch for 392 to be the next strong resistance slash target, which I do feel It's already bounced off of that general area, so just watch for it to get above that. Aside from that, 412 and then 445. Like I said, people's appetite for risk is increased, so it might actually push it a little bit higher, and it's also heavily shorted. So just take note of some of the resistance points above that. Flip side, $3.59 being the next strong support. Moving on to ticker AIRI, so Air Industries, it is up 58.67% because of this. So they did announce this morning their largest contract in the company's history, and that is for 110 million. So pretty good stuff for that. Market cap is only 12.51, so that kind of puts it in perspective on how good of a deal this is. This is what they do. On a side note, so you guys can always pause it, it is based out of Bay Shore, Aerospace and Defense, 180 employees, founded in 1941, so old school company. So right now with it at 566, it is trading between this R1 and this R2, so 603 will be that next strong target slash resistance, and I believe the high so far this morning was roughly around 590, so just puts that in perspective. Flip side, $5.23 will be that next strong support. So most likely, again, because of just what has happened today, I do feel that it is probably going to test this R2. Whether it gets above that or not, we'll just have to wait and see. Last but not least, ticker's VRAX. So it is down slightly, 17.19% because of this. So I cannot stand any company that has a lot of good momentum. Like look at this, over this last 5 days, it is up 303%, but they take advantage and they dilute. So market cap is 15.12 million, and they just announced a 5 million registered direct offering. So it's a very bad chain of events that does happen, and I think that is more telling of the actual company itself. So this is what they do. It is based out of the UK, 11 employees, founded in 2013. So that's, again, the downside of investing in these types of companies that have been down quite a lot over this last little bit. When they do go up, they take advantage and they dilute. So it kind of kills the momentum, if that does make sense. It is somewhat heavily shorted, so it's on the threshold list. 35.42% of the free float's being shorted, works out to be 612,000 shares overall are being shorted. So this is actually what the market does like to squeeze as well. On a side note, just heavily shorted stocks that have a low float. So this kind of does meet that criteria, if that makes sense. And right now with it at $5.50, it is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So similar to that last company that I mentioned, it's gone up quite a lot. So I actually have to look up the 1 week. So it's going to be more the whole numbers as far as strong support and resistance points. $6.25 will be that next strong resistance slash target. So watch for this company to hopefully fight back and regain and stay above that and trade between this pivot and this R1. So let me know your thoughts on these stocks. Do you own any of them? Is there any other stocks that you are watching today? And if so, which ones? So let me know your thoughts on that. One final thing, make sure you guys definitely take advantage of this promo. It is free shares, so you might as well, and each share is valued up to $2,000. It has been extended up until the end of August, so take advantage of that. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.